Good afternoon and welcome to the 2021 Ferris State University Football National Signing Day announcement. We'd like to thank those tuned in today around the world on the Bulldog Sports Network and FerrisStateBulldogs.com. I'm the voice of the Bulldogs, Rob Betley, and joined today by the nation's winningest active head coach in Tony Annese. Ferris State captured GLIAC championships with unbeaten league records in both 2018 and 2019, and the Bulldogs have made 6 straight trips to the Division II playoffs along with 4 consecutive berths in the national quarterfinals or beyond, which is the longest streak in the country. Over the past 2 seasons of action on the field in 2018 and 2019, the Bulldogs are 27-2 overall with back-to-back national semifinal appearances and a berth in the national championship game. In just a few moments, Coach Annese will make an opening statement on this year's class, and then we'll break down each member of this year's class with comments on each signee. Following our announcement today, Coach Annese will join local, regional, and statewide media for a Zoom press conference at 3 p.m., and then we'll have a complete list of this year's signees along with additional coverage and information on our Signing Day Central platform at FerrisStateBulldogs.com. This time, Coach, welcome, and we'll let you make an opening statement on this year's class.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. Finally get to talk football again. Got a GLIAC championship trophy and a semifinal trophy appearance from 2019. So obviously odd not having a 2020 year, but, looking forward to now 2021 and that season. But all in all, a great class. I confidently say it's the best class we've had here since we've been at Ferris. Just unbelievable talent level that we just recruited. So excited about them and the class of players we're bringing in, and also very excited about how hard our guys have been working, to prepare for 2021. So all in all, I feel as good as I've felt in a long time in regards to where the state of our program here is at Ferris State. This class we recruited with great balance. First, we are very calculated about not getting too many guys. I don't know what some of the coaches in our leagues are doing, but, we wanted to keep our numbers down. When you look at it, you're going to have 3 freshman classes, the 19 class. We redshirted all those guys. They're all going to be freshmen on the field next year. The 2020 class that just arrived this fall, they're going to be freshmen next year, and the 2021 class is going to be freshmen next year. So we tried to manage, by managing our numbers in this recruiting class, managing our roster numbers as well, because it is challenging because we're going to have 6 classes rather than 5. This group in particular, we got great balance with offense, defense, and we got 1 kicker. But 19 guys from Michigan, 8 from Florida, 1 from Georgia, 5 kids from Detroit Public School League, and the Detroit Public School League coaches have been great to us, and we love those young men. They're just great players for us and hardworking. So I appreciate all the guys from the Public School League and how they help me be successful. Truthfully, being a former high school coach, those connections have been great. 7 from West Michigan, so we signed 28 total, so that's 1/4 of our class, which, when we took this job, we wanted to do really well in West Michigan, and we think we did again. 5 state champions, 2 from Michigan. In fact, of the 8 state champs, 2 Ferris State signees were the quarterbacks at New Lothrop High School and Mona Shores High School. So 2 in the state of Michigan, and then 3 state champs from Florida. 1 MLive Player of the Year, which is pretty cool to see, but the Player of the Year in the whole state of Michigan, and Brady Rose. And then one of the best parts about this class is their cumulative GPA. Combined GPA is just around 3.0, and so we've got some real high academic guys who are going to come here and do great things. So very excited about all of that, and I just want to thank high school coaches in the state of Michigan and in Florida as well, just trying to help us be successful. At the end of the day, they hand us players because they know we'll take care of them, and we got a reputation for really retaining our guys instead of passing them off and recruit for attrition. We recruit for retention. And so I use that as an example. Look how many guys people are taking. You can't take mid-40s and be recruiting for retention because you can't keep 40 times 6 classes. That means you've got 240 on your squad. That just doesn't work. So we're trying to manage our numbers and keep all of our guys. So that's really important. I also want to thank my coaching staff. Coach Partridge left us, but he did a really good job. But the rest of the guys were amazing. Coach Rock ran all over the place. He did Detroit and pulled 5 great PSL players out of there. And so all in all, I think the coaching staff did a great job working very, very hard. Coach Partridge left us a week early, but it really didn't impact us in regards to the things that we needed to do. And he was awesome. He really did a good job for us, and we're going to miss him. With that, we can go through player by player.
All right, we'll break down each member of the class, and Coach Neese will provide comments on each signee as we go in alphabetical order. We'll start first with one out-of-state product from Georgia, Tariq Brett, 5'8", 165-pound slot receiver from Jonesboro, Georgia, prepped at Mount Zion Academy, named the Great Georgia Region Player of the Year. First-team All-Region selection, was listed as one of the state's top prospects by Recruit Georgia. Total more than 80 career receptions and 16 touchdowns. Standout athlete who played multiple positions in his career, was listed as one of Rising Star's top prospects in the class and played in the Georgia Rising Seniors All-Star Game.
So Tariq played quarterback, and I think we've got somewhere around 8 quarterbacks in this class that we took. We're only going to play 3 of them at quarterback or have opportunities to compete at quarterback. But I love quarterbacks, and so Tariq, they snapped him the ball and he dropped back to pass and ran around and made plays. So his highlight film was great. Just south of Atlanta, we met his mom and dad, and they were excited to come up and visit, and he's just a great young man. I think that he'll end up being a slot for us, but he's got great ball skills. He's got great speed and space ability, and if there's one thing that Ferris State's known for, it's little guys that can really make people miss in open space, and Tariq is that way. So very excited about him, and I think having a young man from Georgia, it's awesome. We got some guys that can really run in open space that are from the South, and we continue to do that. And our Florida and Georgia kids have been great around here.
All right, next up, a 6'1", 180-pound quarterback from Forest Hills Northern High School in West Michigan, Trinidad Chambliss. Talented prep quarterback, ability to play multiple roles as a standout athlete. He threw for 1,600 yards and 17 touchdowns in 7 games this past fall. Was a All-State selection by the Associated Press. Has also been named to the Basketball Coaches Association of Michigan All-State team. A lightning-fast athlete with the ability to create big plays, and named to the MLive Grand Rapids Dream Team.
Yeah, Trinidad is a very athletic quarterback. Truthfully, when I watched him play in person, I was very surprised at how great of a passer he was. I knew him probably, that's where my youngest son went to school, is Forest Hills Northern. So I probably first saw Trinidad when he was probably in 5th or 6th grade. He was this little guy with handles and stuff like that. And now, he's a great basketball player, but he's grown to be 6'1", which I love. I think he can fill out a little bit more. He's got a nice release, and he's a really, quick, athletic guy. And so he's got, a lot of the skill set we look for in the quarterback, because, if he ends up being our quarterback, that's awesome. If he doesn't end up being our quarterback, he can go play a lot of different positions. And that's sometimes what we look for is, having that guy who is pretty multiple. So he can play a lot of positions, and he's right down the road, and so that's awesome. We think he's got a lot of skill.
Next up, from Wyandotte Roosevelt High School, Richard Clark, a 6'4", 220-pound defensive lineman, was a standout defensive end on the high school level. Also saw action as a tight end on the offensive side of the ball. Was named to the 2020 MLive Detroit Football Dream Team. Helped his squad to a state playoff appearance and 2 playoff wins this past fall. Was named to the Detroit Free Press All-West squad. And notched 58 tackles as a junior in 2019. Also caught 12 passes for 258 yards on offense this past season.
Yeah, back to Trinidad, just quick. Coached by Eddie Ostapo, who's a former assistant. So I like to say that because I like to give those guys, recognition for good work and helping them direct us our way. So Richard is a long athlete. It says 6'4". I could picture him being like a 6'5", 6'6", 240-pound guy soon. A lot like maybe, a Zach Sealer is over time. Very athletic rush end. Just long-limbed. When he showed up on campus here in October, early November, I'm like, wow, who is that? I was just very impressed by how athletic he looks. He's very twitchy for a D end, a good pass rush guy, but he's going to be big enough to be physical and take on, offensive tackles, but also, twitchy enough to put pressure on the quarterback. So, obviously we got a long run of All-American, D ends here. Zim was an All-American D end here, and then Zach was an All-American D end here. And Ace was an All-American D end here, so it's pretty cool to see, and we think Richard could be one of those special type of football players.
Next up, from Muskegon, Amari Crawley, a 6'1", 180-pound wide receiver, played quarterback and safety this past season, had Division I recruiting interest, served as the starting quarterback for the Big Reds, leading them to a state semifinal appearance, dual threat talent with electric ability, earned MLive Muskegon Dream Team honors. He completed 68 of 102 passes for 1,008 yards and 12 touchdowns this past year, while running 112 times for 884 yards and 13 scores, averaged nearly 8 yards per carry. Also had a big receiving year as a junior with 316 yards, while rushing for more than 250 yards and 6 scores. Was listed among the Detroit News' top 150 players in the state of Michigan and competed for a team that was ranked nationally in the top 20.
Yeah, so Amari's the guy that we targeted from the beginning there at Muskegon High School as the guy we wanted. Again, a quarterback. We love the leadership and intangibles that quarterbacks innately have because of, that position. But he's a very athletic guy. I remember being there at Muskegon, and their OC Brent White was talking about their sophomore quarterback, and of course the guy before him ended up being the two-time Mr. Football in the state, Cameron Martinez, and so Amari followed Cameron, which isn't easy to do, but Amari did great things. His junior year, they threw him the ball. He looked electric out there. He could, we're going to try to play him at receiver, but he can also play anywhere in the secondary. So he is a very athletic young man. He runs well. He's tough, and he was the guy that we targeted as the guy we wanted from the beginning at Muskegon. He had Division I offers, and it was a crazy year. So at some point, some of these D1s in Michigan had 250 offers, and so we were patient and sorted it out. And obviously coached by one of my former assistants, Shane Fairfield, who always does great things trying to help us, with getting Muskegon kids, and we've had a lot of luck with them.
All right, next up from Clarenceville High School, Justin Dorsey, a 6'4", 320-pound offensive lineman out of the Livonia area, was a standout offensive and defensive lineman, brings great size and potential up front, was a multi-year letter winner on the varsity level, who also competed in basketball, an all-conference selection, led his team to a league championship and a playoff win this past fall, was an all-region honoree, named as the team's most valuable lineman multiple times in his prep career, and chosen for the 2020 Zenith Senior All-Star Game.
Yeah, Justin is, we love basketball players, so whenever you say offensive lineman, and basketball. I mean, that's a great combination for us. But we had to work really hard to get him. Coach Meyer helped us a lot, a guy I've known in the coaching profession for a long, long time, and he retired from teaching and now is just coaching there at Clarenceville. But he had a great career at Walled Lake Central. But Justin's very athletic, big, very impressive highlight tape if you want to check on offensive linemen, highlight tapes. But and we only took 3 offensive linemen, which normally we take 5. But we got a couple of transfers, O-linemen, and it's a loaded room as it is. As crazy as this seems, we've got 5 6-year offensive linemen coming back for 2021. So it is a position of strength, and we're excited about our capacity to knock people off the ball, and we've been very successful. Coach Parker does a great job with them, and Coach Parker did a great job recruiting Justin, and we think he's going to be a special player for us.
Next up, a 6'1", 190-pound defensive back from Hollywood, Florida, Michael Edwards out of Chaminade Madonna High School. Was a standout safety and defensive back on the prep level, a highly touted prospect and athlete from Broward County. Led his team to the state playoffs in an 8-2 mark this past season. Was ranked as one of South Florida's top standouts with the ability to play multiple roles. Helped his team to a state championship in 2019. Garnered multiple varsity letters, and his team was ranked as one of the top 5 teams regardless of class in the state of Florida.
Yeah, Michael is so he reminds me of Brady Sheldon. He smiles like Brady Sheldon. He's big athletic guy who played in the secondary like Brady Sheldon. So obviously, Michael, that's a compliment because Brady has been playing in the NFL. And he's just a good-natured personality like Brady. We're so happy to get him. His junior year, he played a lot of receiver. His senior year, a lot of DB. Loved his film on both sides of the ball. We're going to play him at DB. But the thing that I really think is appealing is the DB that really has great ball skills, and so not all of them do, and so we love his capacity to go up and high point balls, and so we really think he's going to be a great safety for us, and took us a while to get him. We're happy to get him, but he's going to be a huge addition for us, and like most of these Florida kids, the Florida kids that we have, they're very committed to being successful and very determined to be the best. And so we're excited about Michael being that same way.
Next up, from right here in West Michigan, out of Zeeland West High School, Carson Golker, a 6'4", 195-pound quarterback, highly talented standout from Zeeland West, was one of the top quarterbacks in West Michigan, totaled 81 rushes for nearly 600 yards and 11 scores as a junior, also threw for 700 yards and 7 touchdowns in 2019, ran for more than 500 yards in a shortened 2020 season with another 600 yards passing, an all-region standout, also earned Associated Press All-State honors as a senior, and was named to the Detroit News All-State Squad in 2020.
Love Carson Golker. I've got to say this before I forget. So he texted me yesterday and he said, Coach, I weigh 205 pounds. So, I talked to him about Jason Vanderlaan era and being a tough runner. And he's a legit 6'4", which Jason was, about the same height. And I told him Jason was about the same weight when they were in high school. So he's pretty obsessed with getting big, and he texted me yesterday saying, make sure I'm listed at 205. So I'm saying it on camera. Carson's 205. The other thing that I love about Carson Golker is the fact that one of the best coaches in the history of Michigan high school football, John Shillito, was his coach. And Coach Shillito said that Carson was the best player. I mean, bluntly said, he's the best player he's ever coached. And for him to say that is just unbelievable. I also appreciate Coach Shillito making Carson run an offense that didn't feature skill set very much. And so he'll laugh at that. But, they run the full T stuff, and Carson is an athletic quarterback. And so Coach Shillito said to me several times, I didn't do him any favors, featuring his skill set to get him more highly recruited. So that's a good thing for us because he's a Division I talent and ends up being falling into our lap, and we're just really excited about everything he brings. Beyond that, he's a 4.0 student, so we're pleased to get Carson Gulker.
Next up, we have Keon Hammonds, a 6'4", 180-pound wide receiver from Detroit Denby. Also competed at cornerback and safety in the defensive backfield and was a top kick returner. Has the ability to play multiple positions. Led his team to the state semifinals as a junior. Regarded as one of Rising Star's top prospects in the 2021 class at his position. A two-time All-Detroit honoree, was a multi-year starter and letter winner, and the ability to make big plays in the passing game.
Yeah, he can definitely make big plays. I think the first time I saw film on him, they tweeted it out. I think he had 6 touchdowns or something like that. And so immediately we saw that and got into Denby and saw him, but brought him onto campus. He's long. He's a very athletic guy, runs well, catches the ball very effectively, played some Wildcat quarterback, and was able to run the ball out of that pretty effectively. So all in all, just a complete athletic guy with great size, and we're excited about his capacity to play receiver for us. We also looked at him and said, man, he could be a long corner, but for now we're starting him at receiver at that position and seeing what he can do. But he's a great young man, and we really excited about Keon.
Our next signee is Lawrence Hatter, a 6'4", 300-pound offensive lineman out of Livonia Churchill High School. Ability to play both guard and tackle, brings good size and strength. Also has played basketball. Was an all-region and all-area standout, named to the Metro Detroit All-Region squad, and also a Detroit Free Press All-North honoree. Was a multi-year starter and letter winner up front. Helped his team to 6 straight wins during his junior season, and is tabbed as one of the top prospects in Southeast Michigan on the offensive line.
Yeah, Lawrence is a big young man. We really like his capacity to knock people off the ball, but also has great feet. He's second offensive lineman we're talking about here. We'll get to the third in a second, but again, same deal with basketball. He's a basketball player. Love that. Again, has the capacity to move feet, defend. As a basketball player, it teaches you a lot about trying to be an offensive lineman when you're a basketball player. So all in all, we love him. We think he's got a great upside, and he's going to join, again, a great group of offensive linemen, and our player development offensive line is second to none. It's just a deep group of players who really care for one another and work really hard. So very excited about Lawrence.
A 6'1", 270-pound defensive lineman from Detroit Martin Luther King High School, was a highly regarded prospect who claimed the honor as the top defensive player at the Elite Football Big Man Camp. Led his team to the state playoffs this past season after a state finals appearance in 2019. Was a Detroit News All-State honoree. Also named to the 2020 MLive Metro Detroit team and an Associated Press Division III-IV All-State selection.
Yeah, coached by Tyrone Spencer, who's been really good to us. We really like Detroit King and what Tyrone's done there at King. Walter is he's a big guy. It says 6'1", 270 here. I'm forecasting, even though he played in for them, I'm forecasting he's going to be a 6'1", 300-pound interior D lineman for us over time. Also plays basketball, so that's, again, awesome to see because, again, an athlete. But he's a guy that can really run for his size. I think we were at the Cass Tech King game, the first one, and watched him move around, and we're very impressed. And we were at the Mona Shores King game at Shores and watched him there again. And so we think he's got a lot of upside. Their coaches really think a lot of Walt and his his attitude and his ability to really be a great college football player.
Next up, we have Jeremiah Housey, a 6-foot, 175-pound wide receiver from Rockledge, Florida, was a top-notch standout from the Sunshine State, a multi-year letter winner, who was also a standout on the track, was recognized as one of the nation's top 266 athletes, had strong recruiting interests in Division I offers, led his team to the state playoffs this past season, earned an invitation to the Legend Showcase as one of the top 100 players in the Florida class of 2021, and was also honored as an Offense-Defense All-American Bowl honoree.
Yeah, Jeremiah is, a very fast athlete. Steve, my son, coaches the wide receivers, and when we watched him, we got really excited about his capacity to take the top off quick. He comes out of his stance really quick. He's quick twitch, got early speed, which is awesome. A lot of times we're looking for that guy that can take the top off the defense and have the versatility to kind of push people back and scare them a little bit. Jeremiah has that. As a junior, he played running back, and he's played corner before, so he's a very versatile athlete. Him and his dad came here, and we just had a great time, enjoyed the family, and we think that he's going to be a really good player. He went to Rockledge just for his senior year, and he had a great season, and he's going to be a great college football player. He's just a versatile athlete who has a great skill set.
Next up, also from Florida, we have Edrin Lawler, a 5'11", 175-pound defensive back out of Miami Central High School. Had 6 interceptions as a junior in 2019. Originally played for Miami Norland in 2019 before transferring to Miami Central. Earned a spot on the Florida Fire 7-on-7 All-Star roster. Was one of the top defensive backs in South Florida. Helped lead Miami Central to the Class 6A state championship in the Sunshine State. And his team finished with an 8-1 overall record this past season. Was listed as one of Florida Rising Stars' top honorees.
Yeah, we're talking about, a couple guys here that, the last one I talked about, Jeremiah, and now Edrin, who are just total misses for Division I programs. And so it happened during the COVID year. Our guys were good enough to get out there and find them. And Edrin, we call him the turnover machine. Like every play in his highlight film, he's picking the ball like a ball magnet. He's picking the ball off. He's creating a turnover, and he's just a playmaker, and he's got great ability just to cover a lot of space on the field. There's a couple interceptions he made where, he's the post defender, the middle safety, and he's running over and helping the corner and picking the ball off. So he can cover a lot of ground, sideline to sideline. You can see the accolades as you read them, Rob, just about, one of the top safeties in South Florida. And you're talking about Miami Central here. You're not talking about an average program. You're talking about, a multi-year state champion program and one of the best, safeties in Miami. So love him. Think he's going to be great, and very excited that he's a dog.
Next up, out of Bad Axe, Michigan, we have Toby McPhee, a 6'5", 235-pound defensive lineman, tallied 114 tackles this past season, was a multi-year letter winner who played up front on both sides of the ball, a 3-year starter, 3-time all-conference honoree, served as a team captain, earned all Greater Thumb recognition, and was also named to the Michigan High School Football Coaches Association All-State Squad, was regarded as one of the top performers in the Thumb.
So I'm assuming we grabbed these weights off of maybe like his high school roster, like his senior year, but and this is for a lot of these guys. But Toby's been committed to us for a while, and we kind of again talked about his size, and he's 6'5", so he's a tall guy. Right now, I think he told me he was 260 pounds, something like that, near that, maybe a little bit more. And so he's a hard worker. Mom and dad, both Ferris alums, which is awesome. And this young man is just going to be another one of those big, long DNs, with upside. And so, again, I hate to compare some of these guys to Zach Sealer, who, plays and starts for the Dolphins. But this kid is a big athletic guy, and just like Sealer was, just hardworking and determined to pursue the very best that's in him, and good things are going to happen. So very excited about him. And as I read through this again, I'm like, dang, this is the best ever. It's the best class we've ever had. So very excited about it and the future of Ferris State football.
Our next signee was one of the top prospects in West Michigan. Maki Matthews, a 6'4", 215-pound wideout out of Wyoming, was a standout wide receiver. Also played safety. Competed in basketball, was a first-team all-conference and all-region honoree. Ability to play multiple positions, was a multi-year starter, ranked as one of the state's top players at his position by Prep Red Zone, was a 2020 Associated Press All-State honoree, also received All-State recognition from the Detroit News and the Detroit Free Press, and was named to the MLive Dream Team.
Yeah, Makai is a big young man, 6'4", but I think he's up to like 223 pounds now. So it'll be interesting. He's just going to be a wide-body guy we can throw to wherever we're lining him up at. He's just going to cause trouble for people. He can high point the ball really well. He runs well for a big guy. He might be able to play a little bit moving around like everybody's doing now with these hybrid receiver type guys, and so love him. Great young man from Wyoming, just had a Division I offer, committed to the Division I, and then decommitted and then committed to us, and so we're really excited about that. But big athletic dude, and very, very, very nice demeanor, very, very good guy. He's going to be a great team guy. Our players are going to love him.
Next up, we have Mitchell Middleton, a 6'2", 230-pound kicker out of Thornapple Kellogg High School in Middleville. Was one of the top kickers in the state of Michigan. Earned All-State honors multiple seasons. Competed in the 2020 Coles National Scholarship Camp, where he graded out as a 4.5-star kicker. Was ranked among the best specialists in the country. Set a school record with a 52-yard field goal. Was named to the Detroit Free Press All-State team. Also received All-State honors from the Michigan High School Football Coaches Association, and ranked as one of the country's top 100 kickers.
Yeah, Mitch is a big man for a kicker. And truthfully, I mean, maybe this sounds somewhat ignorant by me, but I love kickers who played positions in high school. And sometimes there's kickers that don't play positions and just kick, but Mitch was a flex bone fullback. Love that. And so big, thick dude. But from a leg perspective, he made a 52-yard field goal in a game. And so, that's pretty impressive. So, as he, just kicks for us or punts for us, instead of doing all the multiple things that he had to do for Middleville, I think that he's just going to just get better and better. So he's got great, hip flexibility and good leg swing. From my minimal knowledge of kicking, it kind of looked like my golf swing, where I can, get a long golf swing and hit it, 300 to 350 yards. So, I think Mitch is going to have that kind of range, and he's going to be a good player for us. We're excited about him.
Next up, going back to Florida, we have Jonah Monclerk, a 6'2", 180-pound defensive back out of North Fort Myers. Played at North Fort Myers High School. Also competed in basketball as a multi-sport athlete. Led his team to an 8-1 finish this past season in 2020. Had strong recruiting interest from Division I schools. Was listed as one of the top performers in the Fort Myers area. Helped his team to the state playoffs. Was chosen as an All-Star Classic selection and was among the top performers in Southwest Florida.
Yeah, Jonah's really long. I guess that's the trend now, just trying to get those long corners. So we love his body type. Coach Mack there at North Fort Myers is a great coach, and they really had a great season. They're undefeated in the regular season. They did great things, and Jonah played a key role in that. He's a guy that has just unbelievable upside, we believe. they played a lot of zone coverage, so we didn't exactly see him playing a ton of man until the All-Star game. And in the All-Star game, he was covering guys that are going to Auburn and things of that sort, and he did a really good job covering them. So that kind of sold us on the fact that, this is a legit guy, great young man, and, a guy that if he continues to grow in the program, is just going to be a great player for us.
Next up, we have Cam Orr, a 6'3", 220-pound linebacker out of New Lothrop. Was an All-State honoree, led his team to the Division VII state championship this past season. Total more than 45 passing and rushing touchdowns this past year. Also notched 288 total yards and 5 scores in a state semifinal victory this season. Was a first-team All-State defensive lineman as an in this past year. Led his squad to an unbeaten 11-0 record. Was named to the 2020 MLive Flint Football Dream Team. Also named to the Michigan High School Football Coaches Association All-State First Team. And threw for nearly 2,000 yards on the year.
Yeah, that's a mouthful of everything he's done. I don't think he won a state wrestling championship at 215 pounds. His sophomore year. Did you get to that?
Did not.
No. So, which is, so this guy's a state champion in wrestling and football, which is incredible. He's our Nick Huckabee kind of guy. Nick was from Montrose and started at linebacker for us for multiple years. Nick was also a high school quarterback. But how about this? Cam Orr leads his team to a state championship. And he's a first-team All-State defensive end, and he's the quarterback too. So he knows how to grind. Ironically, when I first found out about this kid, I found out his mom was Barb Severn, who was a student at Montrose a few years back when I was a teacher there. And so then I'm thinking, oh, my gosh, I know the Severns because my dad coached Barb's dad, and so they had a bunch of kids. So Dan the Bee Severn's one of them, if anybody's familiar with Dan the Bee Severn. But the Severns were unbelievable wrestlers, and so Cam has great pedigree, and he's just a great kid. He's going to be big. We'll see what kind of position he plays, whether he's a linebacker or he grows into be an end. But this is one of those where you're just, you're so excited about a young man because he knows how to work. Also really high academic, which I should have said that about some of these guys. But Mitchell is a 3.99 student, Middleton. So I should have said that every single time. But Cam's a high academic guy, and he runs around really well, and he's tough. And New Lothrop is where my dad first started coaching back in the day. So when I went in there, I got to look at the Nick Anise plaque, which was cool. But all in all, so excited to get Cam because he's a winner, and they won the state championship, and Clint Galvis has done great things there as the head coach of New Lothrop. So thrilled to have him.
Next up, we have a 6'1", 230-pound linebacker from Detroit Edison. Aaron Paulding was a standout linebacker for Detroit Edison Public School Academy. Was named to the 2020 Associated Press Division 5-6 All-State team. Recorded 68 tackles and 15 tackles for loss as a senior this past year, as his team went 6-3 and made the program's first ever playoff victory during the 2020 campaign. Also received 2020 Detroit Free Press All-Detroit honors and was named to the Detroit News All-State team.
Yeah, Rocky did a great job recruiting him, and his coach Chantarius Brock is an awesome friend, awesome guy, awesome for young people. So we love him. But we also got, we cleaned up on Detroit Edison last year too. We got a tight end H-back by the name of Bryce George, and one of our best corners who's going to be awesome. The Cooley. And so, we've got two already true freshmen from Edison that are going to be great players here. And then Aaron's a stud, too. We really think a lot of him. Again, thank you, Coach Brock, for helping us with these guys. And thanks to Coach Rock for working hard to get them. But, Aaron Paulding is a legit good-looking dude who can run and he carried the ball for him, but he can run and make tackles, and so he's going to be definitely a great force for us.
Next up, we go back to Florida. We have Justin Payout, a 5'7", 160-pound defensive back at a Champaignet Catholic High School in the Sunshine State. Was a talented playmaker, highly regarded defensive back who played both cornerback and wide receiver. Also a track and field standout, led his team to a 11-2 overall record along with the state championship this past year. Had 7 tackles in the state championship game. Helped his team to a state championship in 2019 with a 10-3 overall record and was tabbed as one of the top performers in South Florida.
Yeah, Champagnat. I try to practice saying that, and when I say it, I don't know if it's right. And when the players say it, I don't think they know if it's right. So nobody really knows if we're saying it right. But Justin is like we view him as like a field alley guy, like that nickel corner guy who can really cover. He can cover so much ground in a short period of time. It's unbelievable. Watch his highlight film, and somebody runs like a bubble, and he's so fast on top of the bubble, or somebody runs a jet sweep, and he's so fast, and so he could play slot potentially for us, but we're going to play him as a field nickel guy, and we're just excited about him. He's just a great young man, great student, great family, and very committed. And people say, well, why do you go to Florida so much? And the answer, truthfully, is, we trust that the guys we've had in the past have really panned out here for us, and there's just a great culture. And truthfully, our kids from Florida come and they get connected with our guys very quickly, and they work very, very hard, and they're determined to be the best. So Justin's just a great player, small, which we love, and quick. And again, sometimes we just, we break the profile assessment. Don't worry about, what this person thinks of this person, or how short or that a person is. We just go out and get football players, and we're excited about Justin.
Our next signee is also from Florida, a 5'10", 175-pound running back, Chris Phillips, out of Boca Ciega High School in Gulfport, Florida, was ranked as one of the top running backs in the state of Florida, ranked as a top prospect by 247 Sports, led his team to the regional quarterfinals this past fall, and an 8-2 overall record, was regarded as the best running back in Pinellas County, ran for 1,700 yards and 21 scores while averaging more than 11 yards per carry as a junior, was tabbed as one of the top players in his region by Prep Red Zone, had multiple 300-yard rushing games in his prep career, and also earned Tampa Bay Times all-area recognition.
Yeah, Chris Phillips, just watch his highlight film. I don't know how many touchdowns, I think somewhere in the 40s, but just watch his highlight film, and it'll speak volumes about how good a player he is. I think probably the first 12 to 13 plays were touchdowns on his highlight film. He is fast. We got a young man by the name of Kashif Edwards from Largo High School last year, and Kashif was like a 10-6 guy, and so we asked Kashif, hey, you know who Chris Phillips is? And he goes, oh yeah, I used to run against him in track, and I said, did he ever beat you? And he goes, nah, he never beat me. But then when Chris came and visited, we found out he did. But Kashif claims he had a hamstring issue. But Chris is lightning in a bottle. All I can say is just watch his highlight film. He's one of the best. I mean, I don't want to demean the running backs that we've had here, because we've had great ones, but this guy's probably the best upside running back we've ever had. And, Coach Kasula, I sent it to Coach Kasula, and he just said one word. He said, freak. And that's a good thing. Couldn't believe how good he was. And so we're very fortunate to get him, and people are going to have to deal with him for quite a time now.
Next up, out of Ludington, we have Jake Plamondon, a 6'3", 240-pound tight end slash H-back, was one of the top prep standouts in West Michigan. Also played basketball and competed in track and field. Was an MLive Muskegon Chronicle Dream Team honoree. Totaled 34 catches for 619 yards and 9 touchdowns, while averaging 18 yards per catch in 2019. Also had 81 tackles, 4 forced fumbles, and 2 interceptions as a junior. Was a 3-time All-Conference, All-County, All-Region, and All-Area selection. Also earned All-Region honors this past year from the Michigan High School Football Coaches Association and Detroit News All-State recognition.
Yeah, Jake is an athlete, coached by Charlie Gunsel, which, if I didn't say this, Coach Hodges would be mad at me, but a former Ferris player here. Played with Hodge, I guess. If Hodge ever got on the field, I think Hodge stepped on the field a couple times. But by the way, Hodges here, while I'm talking about Jake briefly, I'm going to just tell you, Coach Hodges is just, I mean, if there wasn't a Hodge, we'd be in trouble because he does so much paperwork, all the stuff that we need to do as far as getting guys in for visits and all this stuff. So Jake wouldn't mind me just giving a minutes of accolades to Coach Hodges and how much we appreciate him. But Jake's an athlete, so he played quarterback for them. He obviously run around playing defense and playing tight end and H. One of the best basketball players, played varsity as a sophomore, and they're a good basketball program there at Ludington. And what's most impressive, he was telling me the other day that he throws the shot and he doesn't know what he's doing, but he said, if COVID didn't stop their season last year, he was shooting for the school record. So without any kind of technique, he's throwing the shot somewhere around 52 feet. And so that's pretty incredible, too. So that kind of shows you how much power he has, because to be a good shot putter, you got to be a powerful athlete. So we can do a lot with him. Great young man, very high academic as well. And so we're truly excited. This is the first Ludington athlete we've had here since I've been here.
Next up, we have a 5'8", 190-pound running back out of Jackson, Michigan. Dorian Riley was an impressive running back at Jackson High School, had more than 400 yards rushing in a single game, was chosen as one of the state's top 10 performers for the MLive Player of the Year honor, ran for 1,700 yards and 23 touchdowns in only 6 games this past fall, was named to the Michigan High School Football Coaches Association Division II All-State First Team, ran for more than 3,600 yards during his high school career, was the MLive Jackson Offensive Player of the Year, and also chosen to the Associated Press Division I/II All-State Team, along with the Detroit News All-State Squad.
Yeah, think about that. 6 games, 1,726 yards. So, I mean, Dorian is just lightning in the bottle, too. Short, explosive, can make people miss. Hard to tackle, yards after a contact guy. Just an incredible player. Had an unbelievable season for Scott Farley. Just early on, we loved him. His personality's awesome. He's just right now. Liam and Bach and Girardet are living in Jackson. They're in a internship there in Jackson, and they go work out and see Dorian at the workout place all the time. So that's cool to see. And he's just excited to be a Bulldog. Welcome, Dorian, and we're excited to have you.
Next up, out of Muskegon Mona Shores, we have Brady Rose, a 5'8", 175-pound slot receiver, finished as one of the most accomplished high school football players in West Michigan history, was a standout quarterback and also a baseball player, led Muskegon Mona Shores to the 2020 state championship and back-to-back state titles, was the 2020 MLive Michigan High School Player of the Year, ran for 154 yards and 2 touchdowns in this year's state championship game as the Sailors finished 12-0. Total more than 1,000 rushing yards and 19 touchdowns. Also threw for more than 900 yards this past season and was among the squad's leading tacklers as an all-state defensive back, chosen as the Associated Press Division I/II Player of the Year.
Wow, right? That's just a lot to say about this guy. So we knew how great he was, but the head coach, Coach Anise, was like, let's just see what happens. So we went to, Steve and I went to the Muskegon-Mona Shores game at Muskegon. And Steve says, if Shores beats Muskegon, you got to offer Brady Rose. You know, you got to call him on the way home and offer him. And I'm like, all right, I'll do it. So of course, Shores beats Muskegon. Brady had about 4 tackles that, like, were just shoestring tackles, actually against Amari Crawley, the Muskegon quarterback who's signed with us. And just was all over the field. Just unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. Never in my whole career have I seen anything like Brady Rose. And so it's magical. You know, they're playing East Lansing in this, I guess it was the regional final game. And, you know, all of a sudden Brady Rose has to make a bunch of plays to win the game. Then they're playing Traverse City Central in the semifinal game. And Traverse City Central's ahead at halftime, and Brady Rose has to get a pick 6 and then another pick to win the game for him. So I've never seen anybody just win games for people the way Brady Rose won games for Mona Shores. Obviously, former assistant Matt Koziak, who I love, was his coach and has done a great job. Obviously, back-to-back state champs there. But we're talking about the state of Michigan MLive Player of the Year. Coach Bellamy, who is now at Michigan, probably be mad at me for saying this, but nobody in the state of Michigan, was Mr. Football better than Brady Rose. And just based upon his body of work, it's incredible. You know, blocking a PAT in the state championship game, punting the ball 60 yards on a big punt, just on and on and on and on and on. So we're going to play him at slot, and we'll see. But he can go play defense somewhere too. But he is just one winner of a player. For young people, if you want to study, how you should be playing the game of football, like, the recipe should be play like Brady Rose, and just an unbelievable hard worker. I've known his dad for years and years and years, who always I had a lot of respect for and enjoyed meeting his mom. But he would be the one that I would say, wow, he just kind of exemplifies our class by just, him having the great qualities that a lot of our players have, both from a skill perspective and an attitude perspective, a determination to be great perspective, and even like a high academic perspective, which is incredible.
Next up, from Detroit Cass Tech High School, we have Javon Ruffin, a 6'5", 280-pound defensive end, played on both sides of the ball for Cass Tech High School, saw action as a tight end and a defensive end, has also played basketball, was a multi-year letter winner, led Cass Tech to a 9-1 overall record in 2020, along with a regional finals appearance. They also reached the state playoffs in 2019, was one of the top defensive line prospects from the Detroit area, and has big play potential up front, was a standout end on the defensive line.
Yeah, so played for Thomas Wilcher there at Cass Tech. Cass Tech, obviously a powerhouse. And we were at the King Cass game, and somebody came up and told us about Javon and said he's a really good basketball player. And so, again, it's the same formula for us. We're looking for great movement skills, and you can't play basketball without playing, having great movement skills. And so you're talking about 6'5", 280. You're talking about a big body guy with, the capacity to move around playing basketball. So we really like that. And so we don't know exactly if he's going to be an interior D lineman. That's where we're recruiting at right now, either D end or interior D line. We'll just see how it goes, but it's going to be one big human being who can move around very, very effectively and, be a really good football player. The other thing that I really didn't talk about much, but winners. So you can see we talked about a kid from New Lothrop, state champ. We talked to a kid from Mona Shores, state champ. We talked about a kid from Muskegon, win, win, win. We talked about Ruffin from Cass Tech, win. kids from Champagnat Catholic win, kids from Miami Central win. So, it's always been a big part of what we do. We look for winners, and we've got a bunch of winners. Javon's one of them.
Next up, from Laker High School, we have Blake Smithers, a 6'1", 295-pound defensive lineman, was a standout prospect in the Thumb, claimed Michigan High School Football Coaches Association Division 7-8 All-State recognition, was a three-time All-State choice, also a consensus All-Region honoree, named to the MLive Bay City Dream Team, was chosen as one of the top players in the Bay City area, a four-year Letterman multi-year starter, was a Detroit News All-State honoree, and received All-State recognition from virtually every source.
Yeah, Blake is a very powerful athlete. So from Elkton Pigeon Bayport, home of the Lakers. So we got a big, athletic, powerful football player by the name of Travis Miracle. And the other day I was talking about Blake with Travis, and they lift together. And I said, well, how'd you, because they both powerlift. And I said, how'd you compete against Blake in powerlifting? And Travis says, well, he beat me. And I'm like, really? And he goes, yeah, he beat me. He was one of the top lifters in the state in powerlifting. So he is very powerful. He really is like a lot of our D linemen are. We overwhelm offensive linemen with power. We don't necessarily have to overwhelm them with quickness, because we're not a team that really has a lot of gap charge in our scheme, but just controlling offensive linemen and physically manhandling them is our philosophy, and Blake's got the capacity to do that. So just a great young man, two outstanding guys from the Thumb there, and we're excited about both of them, but Blake is definitely going to be an imposing physical interior defensive lineman for us.
Our next signee is a 6'3", 190-pound quarterback from Champagnat Catholic High School in Florida, Tyus Taylor, who led his team to back-to-back Class 2A state championships in 2019 and 2020, was the 2020 Florida Class 2A Player of the Year, a candidate for Florida's Mr. Football Award, was a talented dual-threat quarterback from the Sunshine State, was among Florida's top 10 players in passing touchdowns this past season, led his team to an 11-2 overall record, and threw for more than 3,000 yards in his prep career, along with 40-plus touchdowns, was recognized as one of the most exciting playmaking quarterbacks in South Florida.
And he is one of the best playmaking quarterbacks in South Florida, definitely. Tyus is a long guy, a little bit narrow. We're going to work on that. Tyus should get in that weight room and get thicker. He runs really, really well, but I wouldn't characterize him as a dual threat guy, even though he has capacity to do that. He's a throw first type guy, which really helps us to expand our system, because he's used to the RPO game. He's used to throwing the ball around. In South Florida, you're probably getting, double the number of throws you get here in Michigan, unless, these young guys are out, in gyms throwing all the time. But these guys get to throw outside all the time and get the benefit of doing 7-on-7s competitively and those kind of things. So Tyus has been recognized as one of the best in South Florida. Obviously won a state championship this past year. Him and Justin came together, and we loved them both. Just great young men from great families, and so they when they get up here, they love the snow, and that gets old for all of us. But these are the kind of young men that are just going to make the best of the circumstance, and we're excited to have Tyus.
Next up, we have another highly regarded prospect from Florida, Jonius Turk Watkins, a 6', 180-pound defensive back out of Port St. Lucie, Florida, played at Treasure Coast High School, was a highly regarded prospect from Florida, saw action at both quarterback and in the defensive backfield, was listed by 247 Sports as one of the top DBs in this year's class. Also competed in track, guided his team to a 10-1 record in the state playoffs this past fall, was tabbed as one of the ESPN top 63 performers, also chosen to compete in the Georgia vs. Florida High School Showcase, and honored as a Florida Prospect Spotlight performer in the class of 2021.
Yeah, Turk is a great football player. Most of his film is just like him being the quarterback and kind of a wildcat system, and him running the ball like Jason Vanilon did when we couldn't do anything else here in 2013 and in 2012. But that's what Turk did. But and truthfully, I was recruiting him as a running back, and he said to me, "Hey, coach, let's talk some defense." I said, "Do you feel like you're a defensive player first?" And he goes, "Yeah, I want to play corner." And so I love that. Like, even though, I really spend most of my time on offense, I love the guys that are the best players who want to play defense. And so Turk wanted to play defense, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm very confident that he's got the athleticism to do very, very well. So search him on the internet, or I'm sure we'll have some video attached to this. But watch how good a football player Turk Watkins is, and then you'll understand how excited I am about this class, because we've got so many guys that are just incredible football players. I mean, by far the best players on their team, in places that have great traditions. And so Turk is just an awesome football player, and we're truthfully excited to get him.
And last but certainly not least, we have Jarvis Wyndham, a 6'2", 272-pound offensive lineman from Detroit Cass Tech, was the top offensive and defensive lineman for Cass Tech High School, chosen by 247 Sports as one of the state's top offensive line prospects in this year's class, helped Cass Tech to a 9-1 overall record in a regional finals appearance as a senior, was a multi-year starter, a 3-year letter winner, and listed as one of the top offensive linemen in the Detroit Public School League.
Jarvis, if you're watching, just text me how much you weigh, because 272 is not even close. So that's probably from a roster that Coach Wiltshire put together, and he probably didn't weigh you guys in. But Jarvis is probably 315, 3 to 315. He's actually a boxer, too, so he moves around a lot as he's boxing, which is awesome. But we loved his film. He's he's from Cass Tech. Obviously, they got a lot of D1 guys. And truthfully, if Jarvis was, next to some of these guys who are going to big-time programs, if Jarvis was 6'4", 6'5", he'd be going to, a big-time program too. And so we reap the benefits of these guys who, just worry about the measurables. And so he's 6'2". I don't care if he's 6'1", Coastal Carolina's center was 5'8", and so sometimes these Division I programs get so caught up in measurables they can't see how good a player is. And so, Jarvis, thank you for being short so that we can get you in and put you in the offensive line and dominate. Here he is. He's texting me. I love that, Jarvis. Yes, sir, 315. So 315 pounds, and just a great football player. Very physical, very athletic, very determined, and again, a winner, because he has to be a winner playing for a program like Cass Tech with high expectations and determination to be the best. So, and I'll just summarize with that. In summary, we got a bunch of winners, guys that, are determined to be the best that they're capable of being. And Jarvis has been a leader, and the group text as well, which is cool. They've done a really good job communicating with each other. And so I see Jarvis rooting for Brady Rose. It's pretty cool to see, Brady Rose being from Mona Shores and Jarvis being from Detroit and all of that. And so that's really neat that all these kids come together from wherever they're from, rich, poor, black, white, suburban, rural, urban, it doesn't matter. Christian, Muslim, it doesn't matter. We're come together and we unite as one, and nobody does it better than Ferris State, and that's why we've been so successful.
That wraps up our 2021 National Signing Day announcement. Coach, thanks for your time and great class, and congratulations on some outstanding young men that are joining the Bulldog football program.
Thanks, Rob. The best class ever. The best class ever. I'm saying it right now.
I'd also like to thank Harrison Watt, our Bulldog Sports Network team, the Ferris State coaching staff, and the administration for helping make this broadcast possible. A reminder, we'll have a Zoom media press conference beginning here very shortly. And for complete coverage of National Signing Day, you can visit ferrisstatebulldogs.com. We look forward to hopefully seeing you all this fall, and thank you for tuning in this afternoon. It's a great day to be a Bulldog.